All right, in this lesson, we're going to implement our first endpoint for creating a new shopping cart. So we go to the controllers package and add a new Java class called cart controller. Next, we annotate this with REST controller and expose it at the cart or carts endpoint. With RESTful APIs, quite often we use plural names like products, users, and carts. Now, in this class, we define a method that returns a response entity of cart DTO. Now, we don't have this DTO yet, but we can create it right here. Alt and Enter, create class. We want to insert this in the DTOs package. Now, here's what we should get when we hit this endpoint. This object, this cart DTO, should have three fields: ID, items, and total price. So let's add the ID field and make it private. Then we add a list of cart item DTO. We don't have this class. Let's create it right away. And this should go in the DTOs package as well. Good. Now, as part of creating a new cart, we don't have cart items. So we can leave this class as is, and we'll come back to it later in this section. So back to our cart DTO. Let's import list. We add this field, call it items, and initialize it to a new array list. If we don't do this, we'll get null in the response. Okay. Next, we add a private big decimal total price. Now, because big decimal objects are nullable, if we don't initialize this, it will be null in the response. So just like the items field, we should initialize this to big decimal.0. Now here we have a warning saying total price is never used. Don't worry about that. We can ignore it. Let's just add the data annotation. Good. The warnings are gone. Back to our cart controller. So we import response entity and call this method create cart. Next, we expose it using the post mapping annotation. In this method, first we should create a cart object. So var cart is new cart. Then we should save this. Currently, we don't have a cart repository, but we can create it right away. So we type cart repository, and with JPA body installed, we can create this in one go. So this will create cart repository. It will extend JPA repository, and it will be in the entities package. Let's change the package to repositories. Good. Okay. So now we have cart repository is also declared as a field in this class and initialized using this constructor. Let's get rid of the constructor and add all args constructor. Good. So we call cart repository.save cart. Next, we should map this cart to a cart DTO. To do that, we have to create a mapper. So in the mappers package, we add a new interface, cart mapper. We annotate it with the mapper annotation. And here we define a method that returns a cart DTO. We call it toDTO and give it a cart object. Now, back to our controller. We add a field here, private final cart mapper. Good. Next, we call cart mapper toDTO and get a cart DTO. Now, this endpoint should return a 201 response. Here we have two options. One option is to just return cart DTO in the response without the location header. If you want to do that, we cannot use response entity.created because this expects a URI object. So in that case, we have to new up a response entity. We pass cart DTO, and as the second argument, we set HTTP status to created. That's one option. But if you want to include the URI as well, which is useful for public APIs, then here we have to add URI components builder, URI builder. Once we have cart DTO, we call URI builder. We give it a path that is cart/ID. Then we construct the URI. And with this, we can create a response entity with this URI and this cart DTO object. Let's test our implementation. So I'm going to restart our application. All right, we have a compilation error in cart mapper saying can't map property UUID to long ID. Somewhere we have done a mistake. So let's look at cart ID. We're mapping a cart to a cart DTO. In the cart entity, we declared the ID field as UUID, but what about cart DTO? There you go. I made a mistake, so this should also be UUID. Good. Now let's restart the application. Okay. Now we go to Postman and send a post request to the cart's endpoint. Send. Okay, here's our new cart. Items is initialized to an empty list. Because here in cart DTO, we initialize the items field to a new array list. If we remove the initialization, items will be null, okay? So back to Postman, and here's total price. Let's create a couple more carts. Good. So every time we get a different cart ID.